You know what terrifies me? It's not market crashes. It's not recessions. It's not even another pandemic. It's watching people work for 40 years, do everything they're supposed to do, and then hit retirement completely unprepared, broke, scared, dependent on Social Security that barely covers rent. And here's what kills me. It's not their fault. Nobody taught them. Nobody warned them. They followed conventional wisdom, did what their parents did, and ended up in the same place, struggling. I'm 60 years old. I've been thinking about retirement planning since I was 30. Not because I needed to, I'm worth $190 billion, but because I'm obsessed with understanding how systems work and how people fail within those systems. And I've identified 5 catastrophic mistakes that almost everyone makes with retirement. 5 mistakes that guarantee you'll run out of money. 5 mistakes that will force you to work until you physically can't anymore. But here's the good news. There are 4 assets, Mistus 4 means, that if you own them will completely protect you from these mistakes. 4 assets that will guarantee you retire wealthy, comfortable, and free. Today I'm going to show you both the 5 mistakes and the 4 assets. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what you need to do differently. Let's start with the mistakes. Mistake hash 1, starting too late. The biggest retirement mistake isn't what you invest in. It's when you start. I meet 45-year-olds all the time who say, I'll start saving seriously in a few years when I make more money. Wrong. Dead wrong. Here's the math that will haunt you. If you invest $500 per month starting at age 25, by age 65 at 8% return, you'll have $1.7 million. If you start at age 35 minus just 10 years later, you'll have $745,000. You lost almost $1 million by waiting 10 years. If you start at age 45, you'll have $297,000. That's not enough. That's struggling. This is compound interest. And compound interest doesn't care about your excuses. It only cares about time. I started investing seriously at 25, not because I was smarter, because someone showed me this math and I got scared. But here's what people say. I can't afford $500 a month right now. Okay? Start with $100. Start with $50. I don't care. But start today. Because waiting until you can afford it means you never will. Life always finds ways to eat your money. There will always be another expense, another emergency, another reason to delay. The people who retire wealthy aren't the ones who earned the most. They're the ones who started earliest. Mistake hash 2, underestimating how long you'll live. Here's a question. If you retire at 65, how long will you live? Most people guess 75, maybe 80. Wrong. If you're healthy at 65, you've got a 50% chance of living to 90 and a 25% chance of living to 95. That's 25 to 30 years of retirement, 3 decades. But most people plan for 15 years, they save enough for 15 years, and then at age 80, they run out of money, and they've got another 10, 15 years to live with nothing. This is called longevity risk, and it's the silent killer of retirement plans. I watched my grandfather make this mistake. He retired at 65 with what he thought was enough money. By 78, he was broke. He lived to 92, and those last 14 years were brutal. He couldn't afford health care, couldn't afford decent food, had to rely on family. I promised myself I'd never let that happen to me or anyone I care about. So here's the rule. Plan to live to 95. I don't care if you're not healthy, if your family dies young, if you smoke and drink, plan for 95. Better to die at 80 with money left over than to live to 90 and be broke. Mistake hash 3, believing Social Security will be enough. Let me tell you about Social Security. The average monthly Social Security payment in 2024 is about $1,900. That's $22,800 per year. Can you live on $22,800 per year? Can you pay rent, buy food, afford health care, maintain a car, have any quality of life. No, you can't. But millions of Americans are planning to retire on Social Security alone. They're not saving anything extra because they think the government will take care of them. This is insane. Social Security was never designed to be your only income. It was designed to supplement your savings and pension. But pensions are gone, and most people have no savings. And here's what's even scarier. Social Security might not exist in its current form 20 minus 30 years from now. The system is running out of money. By 2033, the trust fund will be depleted. Congress will have to cut benefits or raise taxes massively. You cannot bet your retirement on Social Security. Here's the rule. Assume Social Security will give you zero. Plan as if it doesn't exist. If it's there when you retire, great, minus bonus money. But don't need it. Stay cash for withdrawing. Too much too fast. Let's say you did everything right. You saved, you invested, you hit 65 with $1 million in your retirement account. Congratulations. But now comes the hardest part, making that $1 million last 30 years. Most people fail here. They retire and suddenly they're withdrawing $80,000, $100,000 per year. They want to travel. They want to enjoy life. They spent 40 years working. Now they want to spend, and within 10 years, the money's gone. This is called sequence of returns risk, combined with overspending, and it destroys retirements. Here's the safe rule, the 4% rule. You can safely withdraw 4% of your retirement savings per year, adjusted for inflation, and it will likely last 30 plus years. $1 million quarters 4% equals $40,000 per year. That's it. That's what $1 million gives you. Not $80,000, not $100,000, $40,000. If you want $80,000 per year in retirement, you need $2 million saved. Want $100,000, you need $2.5 million. Most people never run this calculation. They just retire and start spending and then wonder why they're broke at 75. Mistake hash 5, keeping everything in cash or low return safe investments. The fifth mistake is deadly because it feels safe. People get scared of market volatility. They get scared of losing money. So they move everything to cash, CDs, bonds, safe investments, and they destroy their retirement. Here's why inflation is currently around 3% per year. If your money is in a savings account earning 1%, you're losing 2% per year in purchasing power. Over 30 years of retirement, inflation will cut your money's value in half. Your $1 million will only buy $500,000 worth of goods. Well, you have to keep growing your money even in retirement. You have to stay invested in stocks, real estate, assets that grow faster than inflation. Yes, there's risk. Yes, markets go down. But the risk of running out of money is much bigger than the risk of temporary market drops. I keep 60% of my retirement investments in stocks, even at 60 years old, because I plan to live to 95, and I need growth for the next 35 years. Now, those are the 5 mistakes. And if you're making even one of them, you're in danger. But here's the solution: 4 assets. If you own these 4 assets in the right proportions, you will retire successfully, guaranteed. Asset 1, low-cost index funds, 50% of your portfolio. This is your foundation. This is your growth engine. A low-cost index fund, like the S&P 500, gives you ownership of 500 of America's best companies. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, all of them. Over the long term, the S&P 500 returns about 10% per year. Some years more, some years less, but averaged over decades, 10%. This is how you beat inflation. This is how you grow wealth. This is how $500,000 becomes $1 million, becomes $2 million over time. And low cost matters. You want an expense ratio under 0.1%. Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab all offer these. Every extra 1% you pay in fees costs you hundreds of thousands over a lifetime. I have about 50% of my retirement money in index funds, not individual stocks. I'm not trying to pick winners, just broad market exposure. This protects you from mistakes hash 1, hash 2, and hash 5. It grows your money, it beats inflation, and it lasts as long as you need it to. Asset 2, dividend-paying stocks. 20% of your portfolio. This is your income generator. Dividend stocks are companies that pay you cash every quarter just for owning their shares. Utilities, consumer staples, healthcare companies, boring but profitable businesses. These companies typically pay 3 to 5% dividends annually. So if you have $200,000 in dividend stocks at 4% yield, you get $8,000 per year in cash without selling anything. This income is crucial in retirement because it reduces how much you need to withdraw from your principal. Remember the 4% rule. If you're generating 3 to 4% in dividends, you're barely touching your principal. Your money lasts longer. I own dividend stocks in sectors I know will exist forever: electricity, water, healthcare, food, companies like Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Duke Energy. Boring. Yes. Profitable? Absolutely. This protects you from mistake hash 4. It gives you income without depleting your savings. Asset 3. Real estate, 20% of your portfolio. This is your inflation hedge and cash flow machine. Real estate does two things. It appreciates over time and it generates rental income. You can own physical rental properties if you want to manage them. Or you can own REITs, real estate investment trusts, which are like stocks that invest in real estate. REITs typically pay 4 to 7% dividends and grow with inflation. When rent goes up, your income goes up. I own several rental properties and REIT investments. Every month, rent checks come in. That's cash flow that doesn't depend on the stock market. And real estate tends to go up over long periods. Land is finite, population grows, demand increases. This protects you from mistakes hash 2, hash 3, and hash 5. It generates income, it beats inflation, and it diversifies away from stocks. Asset 4, fixed income bonds, 10% of your portfolio. This is your stability and safety net. Bonds are boring. They don't grow much, but that's the point. When you're retired and the stock market drops 30%, you don't want to sell stocks at a loss. Instead, you live off your bond income and let your stocks recover. Bonds provide ballast. They smooth out the ride. I keep about 10% in treasury bonds and high-quality corporate bonds, not for growth, for stability. This is especially important in your first 5 minus 10 years of retirement, the most dangerous period. If markets crash right when you retire, bonds keep you afloat. This protects you from mistake hash 4. It prevents you from panic selling stocks during downturns. Bringing it all together, let me show you what this looks like practically. You're 35 years old. You start investing $1,000 per month. You allocate $500 to S&P 500 index fund, 50%. $200 to dividend stocks, 20%. $200 to REITs, 20%. $100 to bonds, 10%. You do this for 30 years until you're 65. At 8% average return, you'll have about $1.5 million. Now at 65, that portfolio generates index funds growing, but you withdraw 4% equal sign $30,000. Dividend stocks, 4% yield equal sign $12,000 year. REITs, 5% yield equal sign $15,000 year. Bonds, 3% yield equal sign $4,500 year. Total annual income, $61,500. Plus Social Security, if it exists, tilde $25,000. Total $86,500 per year without depleting principal. That's a comfortable retirement. That's financial freedom. And if you live to 95, this portfolio will still be there because you're not overspending and you're still invested for growth. Your action plan. Here's exactly what you need to do today. Step 1. Calculate how much you're currently saving for retirement. If it's less than 15% of your income, you're in danger. Step 2. Open a retirement account if you don't have one. 401k IRA, Roth IRA, doesn't matter. Just open it. Step 3. Set up automatic contributions. $500/month, $1,000 month. Whatever you can afford. Automate it so you never see the money. Step 4. Allocate using the 4 assets, 50% index funds, 20% dividend stocks, 20% real estate REITs, 10% bonds. Step 5. Never touch it. Not for emergencies, not for opportunities, not for anything. This money is sacred. Do this for 30 years and you will retire wealthy. Not maybe, not hopefully, you will. Ignore this and you'll make the 5 mistakes. You'll start late, underestimate longevity, depend on Social Security, overspend, and hide in cash. And you'll be broke at 75 with 20 years left to live. The choice is yours, but you have to make it now, not next year, not when you make more money. Now, I started at 25. I followed these principles, and at 60, I'm not worried about retirement. I'm not worried about running out of money. I'm not worried about anything.